June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and there's still a huge stigma when it comes to men and mental health, and that's a darn shame. So as many of you know about me, I am a mental health advocate. I advocate to break the stigma around mental health. I'm hoping that there's more mental health services for everybody, that governments will realize that mental health is health and healthcare is a right. But let's be honest here, there is a stigma around men and mental health. I definitely grew up believing that you had to be tough. You had to keep it all in. You couldn't talk about your feelings. You couldn't talk about your emotions. And if you did, you were called a sissy, or a lot of other words that I'm not going to say here because I don't want to get demonetized. Not that I'm monetized here on YouTube yet. I will be eventually. But when I do, I don't want this video to be demonetized. But you can think of the words that people will call you if you cried or you expressed emotions or you tried to deal with your feelings. Not good things. So the question I have is, why are men stigmatized, made to feel less than when talking about mental health, when they want to talk about their feelings? Why do we say men don't talk about their feelings? Why do we do those things? Truth is, I have no idea. But I think we need to start breaking the stigma by just doing a few things, like stop using phrases like man up. Remember when you're a little boy, if you are a male, when you're a boy and you were told, like maybe you scraped your knee on your bike and you would cry, and an adult would come up to you like, hey, man up, men don't cry. Yeah, that's harmful. Don't do that to your kids. And we hear that on media and TV. Home Improvement, for instance, is a show I think about. Yes, it did a lot of times have a good lesson at the end, but gosh, the idea that to be a man, you had to, love tools and building things and NASCAR. And when I was a kid, I didn't like tools and building things. I liked, putting on musicals and art and playing guitar and singing. And I was just into art and the arts. And, because of those things, I was often called horrible, terrible names that start with F, but don't end with K. And that's just really hurtful and harmful, because we're saying you are less of a man because you like this, or you do that, or you decide to talk about your feelings, or you decide to whatever. And the whole point around Men's Mental Health Awareness Month is to shine a light on that, to let men know it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to talk about your feelings. It's okay to go to therapy. It's okay to cry. It's okay if you're dealing with mental illness. It does not mean you're broken. It does not mean there's something wrong with you. It means you're a freaking human being. So I want us all to think about how we talk about masculinity. And I don't like using the word toxic masculinity, not because I don't think masculinity can be toxic. Masculinity can absolutely be toxic, but there's also masculinity that cannot be toxic. Because a lot of times when I use the word toxic masculinity, other men just shut me off. It's like, oh, he's one of those soy boys. I'm not gonna listen to him. When we talk about toxic masculinity, we're talking about masculinity that portrays a certain standard of manhood that you must follow, that is frankly harmful to themselves, harmful to women, harmful to the LGBTQ community, and harmful to society as a whole. This idea that you have to shoot guns and build things and whatever it is. And not that those things are necessarily bad, though we can have a conversation about the firearms later. But I'm watching TV and I'm watching a lot of the media right now and how it's portraying men and masculinity, and how when men talk about their feelings, or they talk about co-parenting, or they talk about, having, conversations with their partner who is a woman, their spouse, about decisions in the household, how the certain news stations will ridicule them and be like, oh, you're a man, you need to stand up and put your foot down and tell your woman what's up. Or this idea of gender roles, like my wife and I, we often joke that we have never fit into traditional gender roles. This is the first time in my life that I've been like the primary breadwinner for our family. For the first, 13 years of our marriage, she was the primary breadwinner, and I would be taking care of things and running kids and doing, not that she didn't do those things, but I was like the primary person that did it, and she was the primary person working most of the time, as I was also working in a church, but I was also, I like she like her and her sister, my sister-in-law, they built like the whole gazebo behind her house. I hate that. I'm like, tools, what does this do? And she just did it. That sort of thing, but I am totally cool with doing laundry and the dishes. I have no problem with that at all. And I know that's just a silly little example, but That's the kind of thing I'm talking about, that we have these gender roles that men are supposed to do this, women are supposed to do this, and that is toxic. And when it comes to Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, that is what I want to break. Because what it looks like to be a man for you may be different than what it looks like to be a man for me. And ultimately, with Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, I want men to know it's okay to not be okay. You are not less of a man if you go to therapy, if you talk about your feelings, if you show emotion, if you're struggling with mental illness. That does not make you less of a man. Because you look at the statistics when it comes to domestic violence and when it comes to SI, it comes to other things, who is dealing with this the most? It's men. Because we just love to shove everything down and not deal with it and not talk about our emotions and not deal with our past traumas. And then it comes up and it hurts everyone around us and ourselves. So I am here to tell you now, fellow men, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to talk about your feelings. It's okay to go to therapy. It's okay if you're struggling with a mental illness. That just makes you a human being. And shoving those things down, putting them down, only hurts you and those you love and everyone around you. So let's stop with the toxic masculinity and let's have a real conversation about men and mental health. And what does it mean for men to be vulnerable and talk about their mental health and talk about their struggles and be real, and how it does not make you weak at all. So thank you so much for watching. What do you think about Men's Mental Health Awareness Month? Let me know in the comments below. Also, below here, you can subscribe and also make sure you ring that notification bell. I do post every day at 7:45, but that way you get notification when I do. These videos here, YouTube thinks you're gonna like. Thank you all so much for watching. And remember, it's okay to not be okay. And I will see you later. Bye-bye.